children, I am Namrata Joshi, TGT English, KVOLF Raipur, D.DOON. Welcome to the YouTube class. Today, I have taken up a lesson, Iswaran the Storyteller by R.K. Laxman of Class 9 Supplementary Reader from the book Moments. First of all, I would like to give you an introduction about the writer R.K. Laxman. Rasipuram Krishnaswamy Iyer Laxman was an Indian cartoonist, illustrator and humorist. R.K. Laxman was born on 24th October 1921 in Mysore. He was best known for his creation, The Common Man, and for his daily cartoon strip, You Said It, in the Times of India, which started in 1951. He wrote and published numerous short stories, essays, and travel articles, some of which have been collected in the book The Distorted Mirror. He was a recipient of the Padma Bhushan, and Ramon Magsaysay Awards. The famous novelist R.K. Narayan was his elder brother. R.K. Laxman passed away in. R.K. Laxman was a great cartoonist, and in these pictures you can see some of the cartoons of R.K. Laxman. This cartoon of R.K. Laxman is published in Class 6th Honeysuckle lesson Who Did Patrick's Homework? And now the introduction of the story. Storytelling is an art. It can be made interesting by adding an element of surprise and adventure. Iswaran the Storyteller is a story about a person who is a master storyteller. He has all the qualities of a good storyteller. He is so good at his craft that the listener ends up believing the story to be true. His master Mahendra is fully engrossed in his stories, and when Iswaran narrates the story of the female ghost, Mahendra believes his story so much so that he resigns, resolving to leave the haunted place. Now the story goes like this. Mahendra, one of the characters of the story, narrated the story about his cook Iswaran to Ganesh. Mahendra was a junior supervisor in a firm which offered to hire supervisors at the construction sites. Mahendra's job was to keep an eye on activities at the work site, and the nature of his job was to move from one place to another. As Mahendra was a bachelor, he used to live in the temporary quarters provided at the construction sites, like a circuit house with no basic amenities or even the makeshift tents. Mahendra had an asset. Asset means advantage. His cook, Iswaran. Iswaran accompanied him everywhere. He cooked for him, washed his clothes, and gave him company by talking to him at night. Iswaran was also good at telling stories, and he entertained Mahendra with his stories based on different subjects. He played the role of Mahendra of TV in Mahendra's life. Mahendra tells Ganesh that Iswaran was very resourceful. Besides having excellent cooking ability, he could find vegetables and other cooking ingredients even at isolated spots whenever they shifted to a new location. It seemed as if he could conjure up the most delicious dishes made with fresh vegetables within an hour of arriving at the zinc sheet shelter at the new workplace. And below you can see the picture of a zinc sheet shelter and a zinc sheet. When Mahendra left for work in leisure time, Iswaran would clean their living place and wash Mahendra's clothes. Then he bathed, ate his lunch, and read Tamil thriller stories. Iswaran would get carried away with the details and descriptions given in the books that he read. Then he would go off to sleep. As Iswaran read stories with detailed descriptions, He narrated them in the same way. Instead of saying that he was walking down the highway and he came across a tree which had broken and had fallen on the road, he would say that all of a sudden he saw that a huge beast was lying across the road. As he reached closer, he saw that it was a tree that had fallen and was lying on the road. The branches of the tree had spread out and seemed as if it was a huge beast. Mahendra says that the talent of Iswaran, making a simple story very interesting, captivated him. Mahendra recollects another story told by Iswaran. Iswaran said that his native village was surrounded by a huge forest. The huge logs of timber were hauled means transported, onto the vehicles by elephants, and if they became mad, they would get out of control and the Mahavat would not be able to tame them. The prologue means introductory speech. It was followed by a detailed story involving an elephant. Iswaran narrated the story of the tusker exaggeratedly. One day, a tusker escaped from the timber yard and roamed about the forest. It stepped on the bushes, tore the creeper plants, and broke branches of trees which came in its way. Iswaran asked Mahendra whether he knew how a mad elephant behaved. In order to make his story more effective, Iswaran stood up and jumped around the place, hitting his foot on the ground in order to copy the actions of the mad elephant. He further says, as the elephant reached the outskirts of their town, it broke the fences. The elephant reached the main road and broke all the stalls selling different things like fruits, mud pots, and clothes. The people were taken unaware and so they ran helter skelter. It became uncontrollable and broke the wall of a school and entered the ground where the students were playing. It created chaos there. Everyone in the school tried to escape. There was not even a single person to be seen around. All the streets of the town were empty, as all the people were scared of the mad elephant. In the meantime, Iswaran, who was studying in one of the junior classes in the school and was watching the elephant from the rooftop, suddenly took a stick from one of the teachers and ran downstairs towards the school ground. The elephant was threatening Iswaran, but he was not afraid of it. He moved towards the elephant slowly. Many people were watching the incident with awe. Iswaran gathered all his force and wagged the elephant's third toenail quickly. The elephant fainted and collapsed on the ground. After this, Iswaran would leave the story incomplete to arouse curiosity in Mahendra. Later, Iswaran would just say casually that a veterinary doctor was summoned to bring the elephant back to consciousness, and after 2 days, the Mahavat would take the elephant back to the jungle. Mahendra was curious to know that how did the young Iswaran manage to overpower the huge elephant? Iswaran claimed that he had used the Japanese martial art to control the tusker. He said it was either karate or jujitsu. One morning, Mahendra was having his breakfast. Iswaran asked him if he could prepare a special meal for dinner as it was an auspicious day. He added that on that day they prepared delicacies for the spirits of the dead elders of the family. Iswaran had prepared a delicious dinner and Mahendra praised his culinary skills. Iswaran was happy on being praised, but all of a sudden started narrating a detailed story relating to ghosts and supernatural powers, which was disliked by Mahendra. Iswaran said to Mahendra that the site of the factory was earlier a place where the dead were buried. Mahendra jerked out of a pleasant reverie after the tasty meal. Iswaran continued that on the first day itself he had seen a human skull lying on the ground when he was returning after buying vegetables. Even later, he had come across a number of skulls and bones lying around the place. Iswaran added that sometimes he saw ghosts at night. Once he saw a very horrible ghost of a woman. It appeared on a full moon night at 12 o'clock. It was very ugly, had matted hair, and a shrunken, withered face. It looked like a skeleton holding a fetus in its arms. Mahindra disliked the story and interrupted sharply. He scolded Iswaran and said that he had gone mad. Mahindra said that ghosts did not exist and it was Iswaran's imagination. He ordered Iswaran to get himself checked up. Mahindra became uneasy because of the story Iswaran had narrated. Every night before going to bed, he peeped out of the window to assure himself that there was no ghost around. He stopped looking out at night as if he was afraid bumping into the ugly ghost. After a few days, Mahindra was woken up by some noise near his window sill during the night. First he thought that it was some sort of animal like a cat, but the noise became louder and louder. When he peeped through the window, he thought that he saw a cloudy figure clutching a bundle near his window sill. Mahindra panicked and fell back on the bed. After some time, he recovered from the scary experience and assured himself that actually there was no ghost and his mind was playing a trick on him. In the morning, Iswaran smilingly asked about the sound and the woman ghost. He also complained about how Mahindra had chided him the other day. Iswaran's comment scared Mahindra once again. He did not hear him further and hurried off to his office. He decided to resign from the job and leave the haunted place. He could not live there any longer. And here our story ends. I hope all of you have understood it. Thank you.